Welcome to the video. So in this video, this is going to be a kind of part two to the previous video I made. If you haven't seen that video, I'd recommend watching that. Otherwise, this one's not going to make a great deal of sense. And for anyone concerned, I don't have a day or an hour for you. I have a timeline I constructed from uh, building forward and then going backwards in the dates we've been given by the Lord. And for all of the dates below here, these are all Gregorian dates, just for ease of understanding. As well as below, we have the dates for the full moon calendar, or God's calendar. You can find it corresponding to the feasts in Leviticus 23. So there's that. But we're going to start from the beginning and then work backwards from the end. And I'm going to show you how this makes sense here. So first, here we have Feast of Trumpets fulfilled. I believe the Feast of Trumpets was fulfilled on this date, similar to how Jesus sent the Holy Spirit on Pentecost. He sent us the word of his coming, and we trumpeted his arrival. And as I kind of deduced from the word given, and then it was confirmed by visions, I believe the Lord has arrived, and he is in the air. So this happened on October 6th, 2025, seventh month, first day, Feast of Trumpets. So the next important thing, and this is actually one of the most important things the Lord gave us, uh, it would, in a sense, it wouldn't make sense to give us the date of his return if we're not going to be here on earth or we're going to be returning with him. But I think the reason he gave us that is because you can construct a timeline from that and move backwards. So I'll kind of explain. So the Lord said he will return to earth as king on Day of Atonement, September 15th, 2032. But if we take the Julian date and look at God's full moon calendar, that's September 28th, 2032, seventh month, 10th day, Day of Atonement. So what I did from there is it's actually pretty easy, and I hope I'm going to explain this like in a easy to understand way. But you have to, oh, for the most part, people believed that the bookends of the tribulation were Feast of Trumpets being the beginning, and Day of Atonement being the end. So Day of Atonement being when the Lord returns to earth. However, I believe that the end of the tribulation is actually tabernacles, because the typology for tabernacles is the beginning of the millennial reign. And I have to imagine that Christ has to fulfill all of his feasts before the millennial reign begins. So, with the 2,550 days of the tribulation, you can reason that it goes right until the end of tabernacles. So, you can probably see where I'm kind of getting at here. So, we move forward from the Day of Atonement, so seventh month, 10th day. Then we go to seventh month, 23rd day. This is the very last day of Tabernacles. Tabernacles begins on the seventh month and the 15th day. So this is the very end. And after the Lord has, as I said earlier, Tabernacles being a typology for the millennial reign beginning. Uh, Sorry, what was I going to say there? If that's the sorry, I remember, but yeah, if that's the typology for the millennial reign beginning, the tribulation can't uh, continue after that. Like if the millennial reign's been established, the tribulation is done. So you have to work backwards from that. So if this is the last possible day, the tribulation could be ongoing still, and you have those like last end times events or the very last days events. You have to work backwards. So if we go backwards 2,550 days, the day count that Medic for Christ contributed for the duration of the tribulation, if we go back 2,550 days, that takes us to October 18th, 2025. So this is when the tribulation must begin by, in order for these feasts to be fulfilled within the tribulation timeline. So I don't have a day or an hour for you of when the church would be taken out of that. This would be like right around here. I can't even see my mouse. Yeah, right around there. But yeah, it's pretty simple, and I think that's the reason we were given the date of the return, because then you could just go to the very end and then work backwards. But yeah, this is what I believe the only compatible timeline with the words we've been given. I don't think there's any other possible timeline that could possibly be constructed, even with I've been trying not to talk about the Enochian calendar. It's a solar calendar. The calendar, or the calendar God had for us in the Bible, is obviously a lunar calendar. So I'm not going to talk about that too much. But yeah, I believe this is the only compatible timeline with what we've been given, and I believe the tribulation has to begin by this date right here, and then we're taken out earlier. Another point of contention is that the kind of peace treaty that's being signed right now is perhaps not, doesn't look like the covenant with many. However, I would say that the church could easily be taken out, and then the covenant with many signed, and then the tribulation begins. But yeah, this is pretty much everything I had to present in this video, and yeah, Maranatha. God bless you. Take care.